up, everyone? This is LB from BT Wrestling Arena at Blogspot. Basically, this show is not about any rumors or any stories, breaking news. But first of all, one thing: Kurt Angle got arrested, stalking a woman. Don't know what the hell that's about. Cuckoo, cuckoo. And they got a cuckoo in its nest. That's all I'm gonna say about it. All right. So once again, this show is all about the rise and fall of WCW. This is nothing that is on the DVD. I haven't seen the DVD. I haven't gotten the DVD. This is my opinion. This is how I see the rise and fall of WCW. This is a two-part series. Basically, this first video is all about the beginning and sort of the middle stages of WCW, and the second part will be about the height of WCW and the fall of WCW. So here we go. All right, so everybody knows that WCW wasn't really WCW. It was actually Jim Crockett Promotions, and basically their flagship guy was the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. They had Ricky Steamboat. They had basically, if you look at it, at the beginning, they actually had all the WWE or the WWF superstars that actually made the WWF in the late 90s, the late 80s. I'm talking about Randy Savage. I'm talking about Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan. If I'm not mistaken, Hulk Hogan was, Hulk Hogan. Ricky Steamboat and many others. Obviously their owner, head booker, I guess you could say, is Jim Crockett. During this era of NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, they was actually doing good. If I'm not mistaken, I read in one article that they was actually beating the WWF, WWE, and the viewers and ratings. And what I mean by viewers and ratings is the audience, the attendance ratings in the arenas and such and such. The NWA, they could actually go into a stadium, into a 35,000 seated stadium, and sell it out just like that. They could go into, I think one show they went to Texas, one show they went to Charlotte, North Carolina, down the road from my house. And both of the venues that they went into stadiums, Texas Stadium in Dallas, and a Memorial Coliseum, not the one in Los Angeles, it's one here in Charlotte, which could seat 35,000 people, and they could sell out easily again. And many people actually thought that they was the dominant wrestling organization, even though they had the attendance, ratings, and they had basically at the time the big name superstars. And this is a time period from 1985 until 1988, where the WWE, they only had Hulk Hogan. Once Randy Savage transferred over to the WWE, Randy Savage, for a little bit of time they had Ricky Steamboat. For a little bit of time they had Roddy Piper. But something was missing from Jim Crockett Promotion, and that was the excitement that the wrestlers and that the promoters could bring to the fans that would go and watch the show. If you look at early videos of Jim Crockett Promotions, go YouTube. After you view this, go YouTube. It's right there, evidence. Dimly lit arenas, even though it would be big arenas, big stadiums, outdoor stadiums, dimly lit, looked like it was chaos. Looked like there wasn't any type of order. It looked like the fans could just jump out in the aisleways and attack a wrestler, which, if I'm not mistaken, happened to Roddy Piper or Ric Flair. One of those two, they got stabbed by a fan back in the 80s. Um, when 1988 came around, they were still selling out 10,000 seated arenas. They could do outdoor shows, but still, I think the company was going into financial trouble. So what happened was that um, Ted Turner, the owner of TBS Superstation and the owner of the Atlanta Braves, and at one time the owner of AOL, Time Warner, basically said, well, you know what? I want to take a crack into this wrestling game. He took over NWA and then renamed it WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Now, when he took it over, it basically slumped. Basically, the ratings dropped. The people wasn't feeling the wrestling, even though Ric Flair was there. Ricky Steamboat came back for a few shows. It still didn't make an impact. In 1991, the late part of 1990, early part of 1991, Ric Flair had a dispute with WCW. And if I'm not mistaken, it's because he lost the World's Heavyweight Championship. And at that time, if you was the World's Heavyweight Champion, you would give a $25,000 deposit. I guess for insurance purposes on the belt, just in case you lost it, broke it, there was money there to replace the belt, something like that, I guess. Well, when he lost the title, when you lose your title, you're supposed to get your money back if there's nothing wrong with the belt or anything like that. Well, Ric Flair never received his money back. And $25,000 back in that day, even though it was about 20 years ago, somewhere in that range, it meant something to somebody. That was a lot of money to be putting up and then never getting it back. So he left WCW over that dispute, and he took the World Heavyweight Championship to the World Wrestling Federation. And if you look at the 1990 Survivor Series, you can actually see where he's walking around prancing with the World Heavyweight Championship. He gave the championship back after they gave him $25,000 deposit. Now, for wrestling fans back then, if you actually focused and actually knew what was going on and actually recognized the belts for each company, that was an embarrassment. They tried so hard in WCW to amp up their status as a wrestling company. Ravishing Rick Rude, they tried to amp up Vader's character, this dominant force going through WCW. They actually accepted Ric Flair back in 1993 at Starrcade when he won the World's Heavyweight Championship. But all of that did not work. All of that did not work. All the wrestlers, the British Bulldog came over there for an attempt. Dustin Rhodes came over there. For an attempt, but it did not work. What would happen next would be something which would change wrestling history forever. The contract signing of Hulk Hogan. Hogan was the face of the WWF. At that time, I think he was the 5-time World Wrestling Federation champion, known around the world. Eric Bischoff now was the president of WCW. And what would happen next, again, would change the wrestling world. When you would put Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan together in a ring at Bash at the Beach, 1994. Part 2.